All right, everybody wake up. You're gonna make crunchy noises with the candies. Be quiet, Terry. I'm calling the meeting to order. And all humanoids except Miss Andijar, who has been given a dispensation, are here. I would like to go back to the minutes of September 19th. Do we have any corrections, additions, or deletions? If not, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Minutes of October the 16th. Same situation. Any issues, concerns, or
Move for
whatever?
the acceptance.
All right,
Second.
great. All those in favor? Aye. Nicely done. Let's go to park usage request. Yeah, right off the bat, it's time for the holiday stroll. Is she here?
She's not.
What? She just thinks she can send paperwork and get things taken care of? What is that? All right. I don't think any of us have any questions or concerns with this. They seem to get it. Was there any problems last year getting things cleaned up or anything like that?
No, my one question of Joe is, will the field be in some shape so that they can use it without any danger to themselves?
So, they just launched the fireworks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No,
You should be okay. There'll be a piece of-
good.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Okey doke. Carolyn, it's unanimous. The only person not here is Julie Andijar. You're opposed?
7-1.
Why?
Doesn't make any difference. Why? It's always opposed.
Because I'm a contrarian. Sorry.
I'm opposed because it's the use of Memorial Field, that's all.
They're using it to launch bombs so everybody can look at the fireworks. Oh, cranky. Cranky. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Mr. Aberdale, it is time for our monthly visit with you and updates. If you would please come up to this, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Years ago, fire alarm panel's been installed, we refinished the floor. If there's anyone seen it.
Can you speak up, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Softball field, we have the new infield mixed down, just we need a final grade in the spring, dugout to the removed, we'll reconstruct the dugout over the winter. Little league fields, 80% of the new infield mix is down, and it has to be finished up. The little league, where Olympia Meadows, the lower driveway area has been regraded.
Okay.
Nice.
Grove Street Park, the parking is installed, 50%, and the handicap access is done. We have the window near the doorway shut out. It's yet to just smooth up and put the gravel in there, handicap. That's it.
Oh, I think you forgot something.
Okay.
Can you give us a little update on the rail trail?
The park.
I know, but can you give us an update, please?
Has nothing to do with us.
I know, but I think,
3,100 feet of rail trail bedding is being placed from Main Street towards the AmeriGas plant. Within a week, it should be done. I think we've all seen pictures of it.
it's mint. I was there today. It looks great.
So, we already have one car on it, coming in from the cemetery.
Why pray tell? Because Megan, just so you know, that rail trail will be suitable for you and that walker. You'll be able to use that.
Okay, really?
What do you mean, no way? You telling me no way? Well, that's why I'm telling you, because it is wet. Okay, good.
So, the trail is no more than 8 feet wide.
Right.
The paved, there's airport mixed surface, and it's got a shoulder on both sides, paved chips or natural earth. So we can have access for town equipment to maintain it. So by Thanksgiving, we should be up and running.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand there was a lot of what I call chaff blowback from people in Housatonic about the rail trail. Oh, it's too wide, they cut down the streets, but it was absolutely, excuse me, Megan. Absolutely everything that was taken down. People said there was 300 trees taken down. I want you to know they were referring to a tree that was like this. There was a lot of saplings and stuff cut off. They've done a great job. And just so we're clear, there was also blowback through CPA about it, that the original request, when we went through this 3 years ago, was that the trail was going to be 6 to 8 feet wide, not 3 feet wide, which is some of the rumor that has been blowing around town. So from now on, if there's any questions, concerns, or issues, make sure that you direct people to Joe or us, and then we'll get them the facts, so before they start getting everybody all up in an uproar. Okay, any questions for Joe on status of anything else?
Next is Memorial Fields.
Yeah.
Don't sit down.
So as we all see, it's happening. The plan is to get sod down this year still, unless weather comes upon us that doesn't allow us to. Hopefully, it's all against Mr. Gibbons' theory of relativity. It's all working out the GPS on the dozers that they're setting the grades at. We found some of the sand that was below the field was better than we could have brought in. So we didn't have to take out as much as planned, so it could help the cost a little bit. And they may putter over the winter depending what they have available for materials and stuff like that.
Bill?
What's the overage of $67,000?
We're not there yet.
So are they replacing the fence on the road? Is that fence done?
There's an option to reinstall it, but there's money in the budget to replace it.
Okay.
So, I think it really depends what the fencing contractor will feel would be, but the cheapest way.
Good.
Bill, we'll get to that. It follows an order for a reason, but we'll get there.
But is that fence against the road?
That's what I was
that
talking
you're-
about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just didn't
There's gonna
understand.
be a sidewalk in there too, so it has to be.
it's gotta come up.
A sidewalk on the outside of the,
There's right on the outside of the fence, there's a sidewalk and it drops down in the fence, it continues down to the railroad.
so you will be able to walk along that side of the road all the way down
Absolutely.
or inside the fence?
Yeah. And then you'll have the walk around the path, the pony track around, and then it'll continue along the co-op side. So if you want to do laps there where there's no
Great.
baseball, you
Exactly.
could walk there.
That's great.
That's great.
Paul,
Are we putting down, fabric on it? We're not gonna do this. Good,
So after you and I talked about it, we go out.
good, okay.
And to answer your question, I think there's 4 inches of infield next to the place.
All right,
And it's coming out of the same place down in New Jersey that we bought from before.
Alright.
I don't know the width of the baseline. I don't got a plan show for you.
well, I was just, wondering if they were gonna do 6 feet. Cause you don't have to do 6, as long as there's 3 feet on the inside of the foul line for the
Right.
3-foot restraining area. You don't have to be 6 feet. And the reason that I bring it up is that if you make it 6 feet, it just makes maintenance of it a lot more because the grass, you have much more area to have to keep the grass out.
It's on my list to review, and when I do that, I'll share it.
Okay,
that it? You have nothing else?
well, I'm waiting for the.
Oh, I'm just,
Saving this gun.
Joe, Stanley Park,
Stanley Park,
so the trees you've cut, you guys have cut quite a few trees in there.
we didn't cut any trees, we improved them.
Really?
Yep.
'Cause
All
it
we
looks,
did,
it looks awesome.
so,
wow, there was a compliment. Good. Something to do with trees.
so this kind of came up, mind if I share the story?
Oh, please do.
I had the great granddaughter of William Stanley reach out to the town and talk to me. He's looking to participate in some improvements down there. Whether she was here or heard about the park, and it's kind of, not being kept up, because we do mow it and stuff like that, but we don't do much else there.
Yeah.
So, she's willing to participate. I kind of sent her a plan of what we could put in for a garden, different maintenance costs, different installation costs. I haven't heard back from her, but she,
Yeah, we sent her a bill and say, if you'd like to do this, let her rip.
so there's actually 4 monuments down there that are kind of scattered throughout. We would like to condense those into a garden and a couple of dead trees. There's this tree that's dead. That's part of a memorial. See what it looks like.
No, because you opened it up and you can
Yeah.
finally see the river again.
Right.
Which is spectacular.
All we did is clear the low hanging branches, so.
Yeah, no, that's great.
So hopefully it'll be that or better as time goes on.
And one other thing, I pulled the lines out of the lake.
Oh, thank you.
3 weeks ago,
Okay,
and I just thought, and they'll notice that, but.
no, I was up there.
Let those guys.
Well, I've been up there a lot lately with the work that's going.
Yeah, it's cool.
Good look on skating right there.
Okay.
Oh, my God. Thank me, baby Jesus. All right. Any other questions, concerns, or issues for Mr. Aberdeen? Marvelous. Berkshire South,
That's it.
Mark DeSignor, how are you?
Well.
Good. Ladies and gentlemen, you all have a copy of his report. I sent it to you. So why don't you stand right up here, coach, and let us go through it. Let him get through it, and then if you have questions, ask him at the end, okay?
First of all, it's nice to see everyone in person. The room looks much bigger in Zoom. It's all spread out. It's nice to see you in person. Would you like me to just read it verbatim?
No, I want you to white paper it, executive summary, bullet
All right.
it.
So, with Tonic Park, I feel like we had a good season. I think it's a good step in building something that can be better, more thorough for the town and for the folks, in particular down in Housatonic. The stats you can see are in there. We didn't have any major incidents. Activities were really based on what kind of people showed up. And so they formed what they wanted to do with them based on their interests. So we kind of followed that as a guide. But I think what would be good for next year, which you'll see in sort of the suggestions, is that we form a curriculum that will be scheduled. So like on certain days, certain things are happening so that we can build some continuity with the community as far as what they can expect. Like, gee, today this is gonna happen, let's.
Kickball on Thursdays or whatever, yeah,
Exactly.
okay.
So I think that would be a good positive step forward. I also think that what I kind of observed was, let me just get my page here. And forgive me, I'm shaky because I haven't eaten yet. Is budgeting some money in the program for sort of special activities, maybe 1 or 2 or 3, where we have, for example, we had come down to the community center, someone from the National Audubon Society, and they brought, this fellow was fabulous. He brought in a bunch of birds and both live and examples that were taxidermied, and the kids just ate it up. These tiny little owls and things like that are native to the area. So something like that. I put down thinking like a clown or just having a little clown day or something like that to bring the kids in or something of that nature.
Mark, I'm gonna tell you something.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. And this, to me, okay, is an opportunity for underwriting. I can see that Berkshire South we could extend that to the community and say, Simon's Rock, would you like to extend, it could be Simon's Rock or somebody like that to do the Audubon program?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I think that would be also something. Also, I wanted to make a correction on the second page underneath where it says Audubon Society, a clown or jester, other occasional. You said have the RFQ sent out much earlier. You mean RFP? What's an RFQ?
I've used both, but RFQ is request for quote, meaning when you, at the beginning of the year or earlier would be better. And when you put out the request for proposal, which was what you're calling the one.
It's from you guys?
For everyone. I assume.
We do it every 3 years.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that.
Turn around and check the guy in the hat.
I think when I came here, it was all, I don't know how many years before, but it was for that year. And I was able to talk to Denise and we agreed to extend it for a year.
Okay, so that means next year,
It has to go out.
same program.
Or no, we have to send a request for a proposal. Not a request for a quote.
Okay.
So he wants it earlier.
Like, what do you think?
Well, I think, given, like every place, the center is limited resources. And we have a lot going on all the time. If we have more time in order to put together
a really good, solid curriculum that can be put into a schedule and presented to the town. Like I was talking about earlier, that will just give us more time to anticipate what it will cost, who we can line up, and have just a more robust program available. We have a little more time. I don't know how that works for the town in terms of when those can go out, but that's what I'm referring to there.
I think we're, we don't have the funds until July 1, so technically, the funds we have for the programs that start before July 1 are in hand now.
Okay.
For like Mansfield, maybe the last first couple of weeks. Okay. But there's no reason why we can get it out in February.
Right.
Knowing that it's not till July 1 date.
Right, okay. All right, work.
Good.
Between now and then.
Super.
Any other questions on that one?
No, I just, yeah, I've got another, on down, right, the next thing is, you have Lake Mansfield in June, and then August and September. I think you missed July.
I did.
Yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up.
Wasn't a very memorable month.
It wasn't a good month? Okay. Go ahead, Juan.
Actually, according to the numbers, we had our highest attendance in July 15th, for some reason, I don't know why. It was much higher than the 4th of July, Memorial Day. Now, these numbers that the lifeguards are taking, we have them using little clickers.
Right,
So they're sort of clicking them, but it's tough to have it be super accurate.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Going, and some people might go
Yeah,
on
same
one
people,
end of the
the same
park.
person could get counted 3 times because they.
It's possible, that's what I'm saying, it's probably at least a 10% margin.
differential, right?
I'd like to have that be tighter next year, so that we just have better data.
Let me tell you something, Mark, when we start to understand that Saturday, July 15th, you had 562 people visit, you don't need to have, I don't care if it's off by 20%.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because what it's telling us is what we do at Lake Mansfield is a solid program, and that you guys are doing what you're doing, and we haven't lost anybody is a good thing. Yes.
I noticed that there aren't numbers attached to Houstonic Park except the average per hour. Do you have a sense of how many?
Yeah, I sent spreadsheets with it.
Okay, I didn't get that far.
I brought it with me on my computer, but.
That's okay, I can look it up. I think it was sent.
Yeah, I didn't reprint them up, but the thing, I think,
It's not gonna pin out or print out. because-
no, it's huge. The other thing is, I want people to be aware of that we're still only averaging 3.25 human beings an hour. For the amount of money and time and aggravation, I'm not saying we have to do anything today, but that's not, and that's up from last year, and they did a lot of I mean, there was a lot of stuff that went out about what goes on in Housatonic too this year. Alana?
Yeah, I think I wish I remembered what month it was, but we had a conversation when we were trying to make a decision about whether or not to do anything at Houstonic Park. And I think we decided as a group that this would be the year that we would take a look at these numbers and decide whether or not it made sense to just staff it again as we have in the past. And I think these numbers are clear that we need to make a different, something needs to change significantly from just staffing it. And even if the programming gets much more robust, and even if there's more money for social media marketing, and like, I think we've been testing this for enough years that
Go ahead.
I'm interested in seeing an alternative proposal. So
Like?
something like Thursday afternoons kickball, 2 hours, staff it for 3 hours. That's it. Not somebody at the park all day long. Something that gets people excited about going back over and over again for the same thing week after week. I know that the idea is, I mean, I certainly as a parent, I love the idea of being able to just bring my kids to the park to just hang out, but these numbers don't tell me that this is a good use of our programming budget.
There's just two small problems with it.
It's just too small and too,
You
we
can't
tested it enough.
hire people that way.
I understand.
That's gonna be an issue.
Yeah,
So-
but
It's an issue.
what would happen? Because I've talked to a number of people who are interested in Olympia Meadows and what's happening up in Lake Mansfield.
Yes.
What would happen if we had one person who would take over programming for all of our parks? And that person basically went to Housatonic one day and Memorial Field another day, and and arranged and took care of staffing, and we bring this stuff in-house and take care of all this stuff right here so that we know exactly what's going on, and we can control that based on the numbers that we get from that. You know, it's like, and because to me, what's happening down in Olympian Meadows, you know, if we put a full-size soccer field down there, we're gonna be busy down there all day long through the summer, you know, and it's like, I just feel like with what's happening in Lake Mansfield, Olympian Meadows, Housatonic, you know, there are things going on, there's stuff that it happens busy, and there's times where it's not, you know, and how do we can address that better?
I think it's just like a creative problem solving look at the bigger picture.
Why couldn't we just take the person who's a tonic and let them go? In other words, not the town hire someone, let Berkshire South continue to run. Rover, but rove to different parts.
Hold on, Mark, Paul,
I mean, saying exactly what Liana said is, it doesn't make any sense logically, fiscally, or whatever, to look and see that an average of 2.38 people at a certain time of the day and 2 staff people.
yeah.
Now, we've been doing this for I don't know how long, and I brought it up last year, and probably the year before that too, that this is the absolute definition of insanity. Doing the same thing and expecting a different result. We need to finally cut the life rope here and spend whatever money we're spending here elsewhere. Now, if it turns out to be we get a tremendous outcry from the residents in Housatonic, then, you know, maybe that tells us something. But they certainly aren't stampeding towards the park. So I personally would vote for ending the program, period. Just cut it off altogether and take this money and use it elsewhere.
Can I make a suggestion to the committee? I think that it is now November. We are not gonna have a whole lot of activities going there. I think this winter, what the charge should be to you guys is take the money, use that as a budget, and figure out how you can run 2 or 3 activities at Housatonic, 2 or 3 activities down in Olympian Meadows, and whatever, and share out some sort of program so you can have different things for different people. I really don't think you're gonna have soccer games all day long down there, but I certainly think if you start to concentrate it, that we'll be able to take that money and use it in 3 different places and spaces and do a better job of offering different types of things. Go ahead.
Were you gonna say something?
I guess I was just gonna make the point that it doesn't seem like the numbers that you are getting, the 2.5 kids that are coming are even there because you're like, you know, it's like
I think
kids are going to the park.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
regardless, So,
I think it's that, to sort of speak to that, I think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that it needs to be something that we're way out in front of in terms of having it be on the website for the town, some kind of way for us to make sure that it's scheduled. I mean, I'm not looking to drive people necessarily to Berkshire South website, although we did put up any scheduling that we had on there. I think driving people to a central town location.
We have a calendar that can do that.
Yeah, but it's gonna take some advertising, it's gonna
Yeah.
take some, you know.
Well, you gotta
publishing.
get creative, and I think what I'd like to do is have a subcommittee of people that are gonna start to work on this over the winter about where, when, and what.
Mhm.
You know, I think that having some sort of programming at Housatonic 2 days a week or 2 afternoons a week, ducky. I think that having, you know, soccer camps or whatever, or ultimate frisbee camps down at Olympian Meadows, that's another thing we could do. But I think that we ought to use the resource that we've been spending and spread it out and do a better job of defining it. And I think that people who know what kids want to do are the people that should be involved in this. That's my
I can't
suggestion.
disagree.
So anybody else got an idea?
No, I'd like to see a couple of ideas.
Great.
So a
Who's
couple
gonna
of-
do that?
Why don't we have Berkshire South come with ideas? They're the experts.
Yeah,
Come to us in our November and December meeting.
December, I'd give them another, even January, some ideas about how to take,
Too much, seeing that you got the holidays.
yeah, I would make it,
Having a idea.
okay,
I wanted to just share a fantasy that I have, which is like all ages pick up basketball that is actually supported or curated by someone there to
I'm
like,
just gonna grab a pen.
sure. Or all ages soccer, pick up soccer that families can do together.
Yep.
With someone there to hold the space for it, so that it is not just up to families to all do it on their own.
I take you guys, I had this sent in your
Yes.
packet.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, I don't think you've seen this, but they do it in Lee, they have dodgeball, all age dodgeball in Lee in the gym on Saturday nights. I think that that's the type thing that we could start to do. Okay? Who would like to be the part?
So. You're requesting Berkshire South to come up with a plan of attack.
To come with some suggestions about,
I think we just gotta be careful. Mark reports to Denise, and I don't know if you still are. Yeah. I know think you were gonna move on or something at one point. So we need to make sure she's on board with this. You know, she's not gonna develop a proposal for the town. So, but I don't think we should turn around and take a stab at this when you got professionals over there. So
yeah,
I think we need to have this conversation.
So why don't you work with Janice on this?
That's what I said. Let me at least break the ice with Denise.
Okay.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
We'll just make sure she's on board.
I think the idea of doing it here in-house, to develop the program is a really good idea.
Good.
And certainly that would, I mean, definitely that we should get some input from people who know how to run programs, as a sort of a heartbeat, a pulse on what are kids like more apt to do. We certainly have a lot of experience in that, and I think that tying us into it from a consultant, sort of unpaid consultant, just for the good of the town might be a good idea. But I think I'll talk with Janice and see what she thinks about that. Joe makes a good point that we're gonna spend our resources that we have on.
Joe, are you willing to, I mean, because I'm looking at something in January. Are you willing to start the chat with Janice at this juncture over the next month or so to see what we can get? Okay. Okay,
Because obviously, resources still have to allocate without a guaranteed result.
okay. Anybody want to work with Joe on this? Great, we'll wait until you come up with the next step and then we'll get involved in that. Okay. I'll work with you in this point to see how we get and where we get. And then the other thing I would love to have, I'm wondering the people at the school, would they have any input in this?
If we wanted to involve them, but that's like that's a whole thing, that's like a big, long conversation, which we should have. But I think it's they have some limited summer programming. They, I think, would love to make their summer programming more robust, but it's not the school, it's a grant. That this.
Well, it seems like we need to get everybody on the same page.
And it sounds great.
Okay, Joe, we'll start with you and then we'll go from there. Okay. All right, Mark, where are we now? We're at,
So we're on
like Mansfield, right?
A very successful season, not just by the numbers, but by execution. I think I have to say, I'm really happy with the work that our director of aquatics did, just keeping staff there, lifeguards. He really just pulled the rabbits out of his hat left and right. So I really give him some kudos.
keeping people on task in terms of what their responsibilities are. So, we did have, there were a couple of small incidents where they really had to do their job in terms of the life saving, making sure people are safe. I think one of the observations is that when they're lifeguard and it gets really busy there, we wind up having the lifeguards kind of being misdirected because of parking issues or some kind of issue beyond the scope of what.
So we need an attendant.
I think that we do, and I think that the town maybe can provide a parking attendant who understands the laws of the town to a certain degree, whatever that requires. I know we can't ask the PD to come down and do that stuff. They have too much going on themselves, but I think that's something that we should definitely look at.
What I'd like to see, be honest with you, I think, I know exactly where this should be a senior work-off position that could not only act as a parking attendant, but also as a no fishing, because the amount of fish hook issues was huge this
Yeah.
summer.
The fish hook issues are mostly off hours for the beach area.
It is.
But at least to be a set of eyes.
Yes, for sure.
So I'm thinking that senior work.
and 62 people. How are we going to accommodate that number of people who obviously many of them come in cars in parking? Now, I remember that somebody said something earlier that when the parking lot is full, people are going to be turned away. And I'm just wondering how that's going to happen unless we are going to get into the business of hiring a parking attendant to stand there and actually turn people away. So is anybody given any thought to how this is gonna work? This could be a nightmare, particularly, I don't want the lifeguards to get involved in this sort of thing.
Yeah, they pretty much don't. They, if they get into a dispute.
Call the
potentially with
police.
People, which sort of happen. They know I made it very focused in terms of what their responsibilities are. It isn't to say it was like, the heck with them and everything else that's going on. But they need to maintain their eyes on the water, watching their zones, and when it's extremely busy, they are just focused on that work. And that's when it's busiest, which means there's more cars. I don't know if the solution is, I think a limit is something that is a thought, but then how do you enforce that limit?
Well, what we need is another body that is charged to do that. That's exactly,
Yeah.
that may have a walkie-talkie that goes to the police department or whatever.
I mean, we probably had a dozen
What?
instances where it was.
They had one during COVID and then didn't,
Yeah, they had monitors of,
right, and then this year, we decided not to have that.
But they were not monitoring parking,
they were not monitoring parking. They were just getting
They were,
people,
they were counting, yes. they were
counting heads on the
But it's
beach.
a similar.
it's an extra body doing
extra
something. This,
body.
it would have its own charge.
It would seem to me that either Berkshire South, Joe, or the chair should meet with Chief Sorty, because ultimately the only people that can do anything about illegal parking is the police department.
That's right.
Because when we've had people suggest that people are parked illegally, they got a hard time.
Well, part of the problem is getting the police department to get up there for parking on a busy summer day.
That's why you need to talk to Chief and see what his recommendation is.
All right, well, I think I can have that chat with the chief and Mr. Averdale, and we will start with that problem, because I think your point is absolutely valid, Paul. I think that, once this is all being redone, and the other thing is that the access to that is only gonna be through Dehan Road also,
That's right.
so.
So once a car gets in there and the thing is full, now we got a bottleneck.
Well, we also, the lifeguards, in one instance, did call the police to have them come down because it was so crowded. There's concern about getting any kind of EMS in there, and that is a serious issue. When the time, and if the time comes for that kind of
All
service.
right. This needs a lot more discussion with the powers that be,
Yep.
but thank you. Is there anything else in this report? I see your summation about, in the last page.
Nothing in the swimming room.
No fishing in the swim area. I think that sign, there could be signs on either end of the, because I don't remember seeing anything that says no fishing. Driving by there.
I don't know. Yeah.
So I think that that's something that we need to look at, Joe. Signage about no fishing at all, you know,
On the beach.
yeah,
Might be a good
Maybe the
idea.
sign should be more forceful. Yeah, I'd say no fishing, maybe it should be a little bit more forceful.
Is there
What
a
would-
fine?
what would be your suggestion for a more forceful
Well,
sign?
what I would suggest.
That we can publicly discuss. Go to Gibbon's house and he'll kick your shillelagh.
Violators are subject to arrest or something like that, which makes it a little bit more.
Brother Gibbons goes. I like it. Well, let's talk to the Mr. Aberdale and I will talk to the police chief about this situation.
Is there power down there anywhere?
Yeah.
Yes,
Where is it located?
No.
There's going to be, right?
There will.
There will be.
Okay, where will that be located?
oh, we can electrocute him.
There's nobody there, people think it's okay to fish.
Yeah,
Like it's okay to bring a dog.
Exactly on the site where we're gonna put our box on Okay, but I think we wanna stay on the lake side of the road.
That makes sense.
Okay, guys.
One other, just an offer of a solution on the parking question, and needing help at the time, perhaps. It could even be the kind of thing where the lifeguards, you know, because they will observe their parking situation. Because sometimes people park and block the shed with equipment. Is that we have prior readiness from the police to say, expect a phone call when things
Yeah,
out of hand. To come down, and this would be part of the rotation of duties kind of thing.
I totally agree. We've had this discussion and this has been ongoing. So I think that now we're getting to the point now that the work's being done up there and so I think this is definitely a wintertime chat.
Fair enough, okay.
There is an amazing amount of space, like they have cleared a lot of room up
Thank
there
you.
because
Right. They had to clean out. It's sort of like the Hoosie Rail Trail. They needed to get some space.
a little more than that.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm just saying, what happens? Tell the cultural council.
Also, where we wanted to put the platform for kids to swim out to,
Yeah,
about 9 feet deep. It was good
to do what?
to put a dock out. To put a dock out for the kids to swim to. We talked about putting a raft or a dock out.
Oh, Concom, I hear. I think that all process, I think, start the process.
You asked me.
No, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's a great idea, but I think that nothing's gonna happen down there till we get through this whole rebuild. And then you can start putting all that stuff in. Okay,
Just on like, I think the completion date is the end of June. So that dives into the weekends that we provide lifeguards for Memorial Day out. So again, the beach might be ready by then. We'll be working on other places, but
okay,
just so everybody knows that.
okay, great.
Thank you.
Devin. How are you gonna be on when I don't see your computer?
Oh, I can start. Is that good? Or, is that what you're talking about for the camera?
That's great.
Yeah. We're now going to the Railroad Street Youth Project. This is Devin Wagner. He has been charged to present tonight. Go for it.
Thanks for having me here. I'm just going to quickly zoom through this. If you have any questions, please ask, and if you need me to slow down at all. So just starting with our seasonal information, this is the information that doesn't change at all. So this is like staffing hours. Things to note are the spring and fall hours. We staff using after school hours. So that includes 3 to 7 through Mondays and Fridays. And then Saturdays and Sundays, we staff 11 through 7. For summers, we staff daily, Monday through Sunday, 11 to 7. For For peak periods such as holidays, weekends, or events, we always add on an additional staff member. Typically, we'll only have 2, but we'll add up to 3 or more depending on number of attendance or expected attendance. As for numbers, the park attendance, our total number of visits tracked this season was 1,075, and our average number of visits per day was 9.3 people. For park usage by youths, we estimated about 69% of all attendance were youth between ages 14 to 25. Our highest day of attendance was 49 attendees, and our lowest was 2. As for an overview, our staff is tasked with both maintaining garbage and garbage pickup and weeding and raking leaves, just maintaining the park in general. As for incidents, we only had 1 reported incident, which was concerning the shed doors being tampered with on September 16th, and we reported that to Parks and Rec on the next week. I am very happy to say that we have had no incidents this season with including any or involving any law enforcement. I added in a section about weather just because this season specifically ties in with our policy. During rainy days, we do not staff. And this last summer was, I think it was the 2nd wettest summer in Massachusetts. So that kind of ties in with our attendance scores. As for closings, we had 1 closing request from Mahawi Theater, which they asked for their gala that they put on in the baseball field, and that also had us closed down from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Programs, looking at programs, this year we took a different approach for our staff. We had all of our skate park staff members be both first aid certified and CPR certified and trained. As well as the basic trainings for RSYP and park policies. According to our collected data, attendance trends slowly dipped in June and rapidly increased over the months of July and August. I'll share a little bit more about that in our charts later on. As always, RSYP provides free cooler water during staff days if need be, if asked.
Let me stop you right there. We still don't have a functioning water fountain.
Yes.
Joe, what can we do about that all summer? Do you know, who do we have to talk to?
About it, I guess, I'll be take a look.
You mean to tell me this is the first time you've heard about it?
It is, yeah.
Devin?
The guys went down and
Um,
off every year, but they never told me that it doesn't work.
As far as I've been working at RSYP, I myself have not made anyone aware of that. And also I've heard that in prior years, this has been a recurring issue, so I'm not sure.
Okay, so let me put this to you as succinctly. The next time you don't got no water, talk to Joe.
Awesome.
When we turn on, I don't even know if we turn yours on. I know we go to the one in Memorial Field.
No, it's turned on by,
Our property or their property?
Um,
Your property owns the building and a sort of footage around the building, and that's right up against the, right here, the building.
yeah, I'm actually
So
not
might not
sure.
be ours.
Yeah, I'm not sure
We can
about,
look into it.
I'm not sure about, if it's on the park property or versus the, actual RSYP building property. But that's definitely something I can find out and then also, report back to, if that's what's needed.
why does she, what does she want to talk about?
Well, how would I know?
Oh, yes, my supervisor is
Oh,
also.
well, good. All right.
Sorry about that.
That's good. Go ahead.
Hi, yeah, I can give some clarity on that. So the water fountain that we're talking about is you turn it on inside the building. And I think I was there sometime in early spring when someone came in to turn it on. And then it found that it wasn't functioning. And they do that. I've been working there for 3 years, and every year they do come in the building to turn it on.
Who's they?
I forget his name. Steve? No, not Steve. He has a beard from the town.
Yeah, that's probably Steve.
Yeah.
Well, from now on, if you don't have water, please let us know, not in November, probably in June would be a better no. Well, I know, that's why I'm saying November's not a good time to let us know.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else, Molly, or is that it?
That's it about the water fountain, but yeah, I'll be here if any other questions.
Okay, go ahead, Devin.
Awesome. Just moving back to the report, I listed out here all of the events that happened this summer. I won't go through all of them, but you can see we had 5 total events and it totaled out for attendance to be 183 attendees, sorry. As for challenges, we had 4 challenges that we listed. One of them, yes, of course, being the water situation, the water fountain. Another one was the heat this summer. It was fairly hot, so that coupled with the water, that definitely decreased some comfortability within the skate park. But I believe that the shades are also being put up this soon for a little bit of extra shaded areas, and comfort levels could hopefully rise with that.
Wait a minute. We're putting up shades. Do we know that?
So
Yeah, here we go.
they originally asked for shades, you guys did as they did at Movitonic.
Right.
You just can't go buy pop-up tents and put them on town property without liability and insurance and PE stamps and everything like that. There's nothing to tie it down there. So it wasn't gonna work. What he's referring to is this past week, based on our discussion of this meeting last time, is the skate park is one of the next parks we're gonna work on. So I had a meeting with Ty and Bond now,
Okay.
okay? And I informed them that we were meeting there because the co-op wanted to buy the property.
What?
That's what they told me. I was faded when I said.
Please don't start this.
So I know we're jumping ahead. I don't know if you want to talk about the skate park down here or you want to talk about it.
I want to talk about it because he's here and we can do this.
So we invited Ty and Bond up to meet with us out at the skate park to look at the lay of the land and what could be done, what couldn't be done. We went over the different structures that, that are there, the condition they're in, things like that, the bowl, the drainage of the bowl.
Right.
And the whole list that we shared with you about here. So the next step was, he thought he had intruders on the property, so he came out and asked what we're doing, I think, and we informed him. And I shared with him that, I was gonna reach out to Ananda and ask them to put together a list of things that they're looking for, okay? Like shade, like the water fountain, correcting the water fountain. Like the curbing to maintain, because people come there for the skating on the curbing. So they have that task already. I've already spoken with Amanda. She's put together a little group of people to give us some feedback and a prioritized list. And then we'll take that with Ty and Bond and we'll turn around and come up with some schematics for you all to look at.
Just stay in the game and stuff happens. Thank you.
So the shade isn't out the bid. There's a little bit of process here. So just so you understand it, maybe a little clearer. We get this in motion here and the commission here votes on the direction they want to go. We get an engineer's estimate. We'll present it to town meeting for.
Gotcha.
How many approves the money? You might get me one.
Awesome, thank you.
Great. All right, so your challenges were weather.
Yes, weather, also specifically, during the months of, I believe, June and July, we experienced very poor, air quality.
Yeah, we know the fires.
The fires,
Okay,
so that affected our attendance as well.
that's okay. I don't need to beat things that hopefully we won't have to deal with again. Go ahead.
And those were our 4 major challenges. I do have, a few graphs that I would like to share with you all.
The other thing is the third challenge, this one is the one that gets me, is that parking next to the park.
Yes.
And what cracks me up is these are young people on skateboards. I'm like, you know what?
Right on top of the building.
Roll to the park, boys and girls. I'm not worried about you having close parking. It's not, you know what I mean? So it was kind of funny.
One thing I do want to note just with that as well is that, at least this season, we had seen an increase in families parking. Specifically, it's easier for them to
Sure.
drop off gear or pick up gear and kids, young kids. So.
The other thing is, when there are people parked illegally, you guys need to call the police department and tell them to come and start, because I'll tell you, 4 or 5 tickets will get people to get out of there.
Yes, as per RSYP policy, our methods are to de-escalate situations and use police intervention the least amount as possible. Unless it's a situation where it's absolutely necessary.
No, I understand about de-escalation, but let me explain something about de-escalating a parking problem. By saying, please don't park there, gets you nowhere. Okay, so think about that. Go ahead.
Where did you tell people to park, just out of curiosity?
We directed to parking on the main street, we directed to parking across the street. We also, there's parking.
I park at the
I
co-op.
can't remember it. There's a parking lot in after you go past the bridge and take a left. I don't know the name of it though. But just anywhere that we could think of and that.
Don't park here,
Yeah,
just figure
don't
it out.
park here, basically.
Okay.
But yes, moving on to our data, it says that I can't share. Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Hit it.
Awesome. So I created 3 graphs just to show you guys a little bit better how our attendance is. I'll just read straight through this. So for our first graph, we have attendance based on age. Again, our total number of sign-ins this season was 1,075. The largest group that was reported was 68%, which was youth ages 14 to 25 within the park. And we also have a breakdown for under the age of 14 and over the age of 25. Our second graph is attendance based on residency. For the people who provided their residency, we can see Great Barrington had an 81% residency report. And our second leading place of residency was Sheffield. And finally, our third graph is attendance trends for the season 2023. As you can see, we start in May, we end in October. As May to June, we saw a little bit of a decrease, and June to July to August, we saw a rapid increase in attendance. And as we come back to the school time, we see a drop back in September, and we had some very nice days in October, so we saw a little bit of increase there. And I think that is all from me. Great.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you for doing this. Thank you for sticking with it when I kept throwing you curveballs. I think it's important that we get some sort of sense of it, and as time goes on, I mean, the park is gonna get better and better and better because of what's going on down there now. So thank you for your work. Does anybody have any questions of Devin? The only thing I could say is I'd love to see, and I think it goes along with what we were talking about, you guys may want to get involved on this, you know, what's happening at, you know, the park and Housatonic, Olympia Meadows. There may be something that you can loop in, like two.
Here.
If I wanted to hitch, I would have gotten you already.
Well, I'm not too sure.
What I'm thinking is that you could get, so that we know that on Tuesdays and Fridays from 2 to 4, there may be activities going on there. It could be ultimate frisbee, it could be whatever. But I'm just hoping to get more of a network central, you know, that there's different things for different age groups and different activities, so everybody can participate. And I think that you should be part of that, Railroad Street Youth Project should be part of it.
I love that idea, and I think that we should also be part of that.
Okay, great,
Thank you so much.
good. Next. There's a letter, email, and a lot of you and I were talking about.
Okay.
There seemed to be, this is to do with the Who's Dome and Ruby Avir and whatever. But she was hanging out too long and ending up jamming up the basketball. I was like, no, you don't have permission to do that. You need to be from 4 to 5 because basketball starts at 5 o'clock, period. And I then had a discussion, Alana and I did some talking, and basically I said, Ruby, you've been using the space for nothing for 3 years. That's gotta stop. It's gotta stop.
She charging me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do get the long-winded, oh, they're seniors and they really love it. You know, I get the whole narrative format. So I said, I think I'm gonna bring it up to the commission, but I'd like you to come, just send me an idea as a suggestion. So this is what she sent me. As we spoke, clarified moving forward, Tai Chi is using my group. We use the basketball court from 4 to 5 on Tuesday and Thursday. I will pay $25 a month for space. Please let me know how to make the payment for number. The months of December and January, I'm not going to be here. So I'll be out of town and be back to resume classes in February. My best for all your assistance and support. This is not cast in stone. This was like, instead of me telling her what to do, I wanted her to start to talk about it. So I'm bringing this to the commission because the problem is we now have what we call a revolving fund for Park and Rec, for instance. The floor was just redone at the Who's Dome. Normally basketball covers all of that. This year the town's doing. Okay. So we're going to take monies that, you know, there's a guy been teaching pickleball lessons. He has, when he gives money, it goes into a special revolving fund. I don't know if this is for 8 visits a year. I mean, 8 visits a month. And she hasn't paid at all for all this time during COVID. So I told her that this game was over.
What's she charging?
What is she charged?
I don't know, but I wanted to get, I don't want to make a call. I want us to make the
So
call.
she wants to pay $25 a month for
Yeah.
8 visits a month.
Yeah,
How about $25 a visit?
I think that it's up to, I think she deals with like 4 to 5 people and they're seniors. I don't know what she's charging. I was not going to get into that because I wanted this body to make the discussion. Yes, Alana, I can see your little, I know where we're going and I thought you'd be the perfect person to answer this question.
Yes, well, we have had the conversation in the past, and I think it should be revisited now of developing an organized system for this, so that it's not about Ruby and it's not about Tai Chi and it's not
Yeah.
about this particular situation. It is in general. If you're doing something that you're charging other people for, it's this amount of money for an hour, it's this amount of money for a day. If it's a nonprofit, you're not earning any money, it's this amount of money for an hour, it's this amount of money for a day.
Great,
But I think we need to do some work on it.
I agree.
We've already set some sort of precedent with that pickleball situation. Haven't we? Isn't there someone teaching and he's like, I'm gonna donate?
Yeah, he gives $9 an hour.
Right, so like that we've agreed to something for somebody already.
Which could be a framework that we work off of.
But I would like this to get done so it's not constantly coming back to bite us in the,
Yeah,
So why don't Alana and Sir Debbie come back to us with a proposal? You have to post, if we do that, you have to do it as an open meeting, the 2 of you meet, but why don't you do that?
That's fine.
Which we may or may not agree with, but at least it's a starting point.
I've been thinking about this a lot and and I haven't put anything down in paper, but my idea is that everybody who makes use of a town facility pays a minimum fee of X. And then we can go on and we can divide them up into not-for-profit that are organized with a 501c3 designation or whatever, or individuals versus groups. But you're right, we've been talking about this for, I think the last person was when Kathy Punges was on our committee. She started to
Yes,
work out
she
something,
did
but
some
we
homework.
need something, because there is no way that people who are using town facilities should be able to use them gratis. They should be making payments of some type.
well, I'm gonna put a broader brush on that. I think you're right, but I think if it's a town-run program, I'm not gonna charge them like the
Well,
Lucy
that's a
basketball
different
or
story.
the pickleball thing, but the guy who's giving lessons, he pays. I've had people call me and say they wanna do a private birthday party, and I just put the kibosh on that. I didn't wanna start with that. I had a guy who wanted to come in and rent the gym for his family so they could play pickleball. I was like, no, we're not starting that shit.
So a couple things, Parks Department, Parks Commissioners don't set fees, Select Board does, so.
Right,
That'll be a recommendation to the Select Board.
good.
But the other part of this is, I do think we have to define what a town-run group is. I don't think Housatonic basketball is a town-run group. I think we've called it a town-run group, but ultimately, I also think if it's for the majority of our kids and there's some in kind, we should be charging anyways. I think there are some nuances there. I think
I
it's for
agree.
our kid. I think this is a little more complicated than it sounds, but I'm sure some of our parks people can come up with something that works.
It's like the boxing program is done by Pulse. They don't charge anybody, and it's for our kids. So what you may want to do is look at what's there. There's no charge for that. We play pickleball. There's no charge to play pickleball because it's for town people and you can bring a guest, but other than that, the guy who instructs, he pays. So I think that, and I think this Ruby thing, I think $25 a visit's a little much. But I think that $25 a month, when she started, I said, when she wrote it down, I was like, not a chance in hell that'll get passed. It'll be
Can I
more
ask
than,
Joe a question?
yeah.
Joe, when we redid with grant money, the building, is the thermostat
Oh, boy.
in the building allow us to lower it and raise it depending on what's in there?
It doesn't.
No,
It's manually set.
Okay,
The intentions are over time to have everything on a management system that we can set times. For example, like a library and stuff like that.
well, Karen knows where I'm going on that.
I
If
know.
during the day, there's no one in there about,
Shut her
"Look,
down."
we have to turn it up. You need to at least make heat, pay for our heat in there if we're gonna turn it
Oh, I
down.
hate to think what that would be.
Well,
Well, the thing is, she's coming in at 4, basketball starts at 5, so you'd have to gear that up at that point almost anyway. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of little nuances, but I do believe I would like, Sir Debbie and Alana, would you be willing to at least start to look at that and come up with an idea? Super. Okay, great. Bill, where are we with the soccer field at Olympia Meadows? Anything?
So we'd like a full-size soccer field down in Olympia Meadows. Like that's,
I like the wrong guy. Well, you convince these people and I'll do whatever you want.
What's the problem with what's there?
The field that we laid out is
Yeah,
110 yards long by 60 yards wide,
yeah,
which a regulation soccer field is 110 to 120 by long by 70 yards
so
wide.
you're missing 70 on the 10 on the width.
We're missing like 10 to 14 yards in the width.
so refresh my memory, the trail has to be moved to do that?
So the field,
When we, last time we were here, we were just, you said, Karen, that we should come to the meeting and say what we'd like to happen.
Right,
And then Joe can work out how that works. Will the trail get moved? Maybe. Would trees have to get cut down? Possibly, but I think to serve the town the best, we need to have a full-size soccer field in there. How that happens, I don't know. But what I would say for everybody here is to serve the soccer community the best. We should have a full-size soccer field down there.
So Bill, the reason I asked you is because the field, the trail down there went in with grant money with town meeting approval. Moving that is not going to be simple. That's why I'm asking. I'm not against it. I just want to know what we're talking about.
so to make it happen, the west boundary that I laid out is tied up against all the present infrastructure of the 3
Baseball
light
fields.
poles and the
yeah,
the fences and all that. So we've got it as close to that as we can.
okay,
So.
so the only
to get
place is go to the river.
Towards the river. And in order to do that, some trees would have to get, it would have to get laid out. There's some trees and shrubs that would have to get taken out. The base.
Tom, one moment. These are not trees and shrubs. This is
Well-
just scrub crap that's been growing there.
Mostly, they're mostly dying, there's some trees that are
Okay.
already dead. and-
It's not like a
Nice.
planned garden.
Right, but the path would have to get pushed. Parts of the path, the Riverwalk path or whatever, would have to get pushed to the riverside. And the other thing that would have to happen would be that the practice, the little, the softball practice field, the backstop that's there for that would probably also have to get pushed back because that would be in the necessary dimension to make a field there. I mean, you can just, you know, you
So
look
what
at,
you need to do, okay, is you need to get a picture of what it is now
Mhm.
and then do a bird's eye view of exactly what's gotta be done in order to do that. This sounds fairly larger than we imagined by moving backstops and how many trees. And let me tell you something, the amount of blowback they got for the Housatonic Trail, and they were saying 200 trees got taken down and they were all this big around. So
one thing. that
people
could
get
happen-
really nuts when you take down trees, I'm just telling you.
The practice, that practice field backstop could be reoriented
Okay,
because, you know, if we laid out a soccer field, that the end line of the soccer field could also be the sideline for
the softball.
softball, right, but right now, they're not oriented.
What I'm saying is,
Yeah,
I
so-
think what you're saying makes sense. If we can just, now we gotta look at the puzzle pieces and see what you gotta do.
Well, I'm not a surveyor, but somebody could, you know, tell me, I can draw a picture on overlay like we presented before of
Okay,
pictures, but I mean, I'm not really equipped to
Or
do
don't we,
that as
don't
well
we
as
just get,
maybe you are.
don't we just get Ty and Bond down there? We want a full-size soccer field. We don't wanna mess around with the practice field because that gets used. And we wanna figure out if that's possible, how much that would cost, and present us with a price.
That's what I was gonna suggest, instead of sending Tom down there, if the commission's on board with this and wants to spend some money in a
do
preliminary.
we have any idea what it would cost to evaluate that, to assess it? By time bond?
We wouldn't do time bond, we would do foresight, because
Okay.
foresight has all the survey data for down there.
Could I also ask before you do that, you talked to Chris Rumbold about what it would take to move the trail?
Yeah.
Because if that's grant funded, and if it's impossible to move
Then
without
we're going
an act of
nowhere.
God, then there's no sense of us spending money on foresight.
Okay, great. That would
I
be a
can
good
check that,
start.
And then I think if you want to, we have an engineering budget, I can do it out of. the stock.
Great.
Plus the conservation commission would have to look at it.
Oh,
I
God,
think I think what we do is take the survey, go down there, if they don't have topo for the area, get topo for the area, they do a quick calculation, because if you're cutting and filling areas in a floodplain, that's a big problem.
huge.
Okay, yeah, so as well as cutting trees and stuff like that, so let's answer Steve's question first. And if
Great.
it's a green light from there, I can turn around and see if we can get something laid out, you know.
Does that work
very,
for you
very-
guys?
Very high level.
Okay,
Just
good.
show us what-
Good, that's perfect. Thank you. That's good. Step down, next case. I direct your attention to a missive that Mr. Meyer put together that is going to be sent from the Park and Rec Commission to the Conservation Commission. And if you haven't read it, I'm sorry, because you should. It's well written, it's quick, it's short, it looks like this. Really, you want to summarize quickly, other than, I mean, I think. When I was reading this, I was thinking, I know what he wants, to do. I know what he wants done. And I love how you sort of dances with wolves around the whole situation. It's like, well, you guys do something about the goddamn weeds, you know,
But,
so,
but he also is good enough to tell them what not to do, and that's chemicals,
right.
which they weren't gonna do anyways, but I agree. I make a motion that we accept that letter and have Bill.
Forward it.
Bill forward it to, the Conservation Commission and be a representative.
Any further discussion on this? All those in favor? Aye, bye. Good job.
Was excellent.
Okay. Skate park at Memorial Field. You just talked about that earlier. Yeah, okay. Okay. Do you want to talk?
Question about skateboard.
Yes,
Are the basketball hoops, have they been redone?
So, in talking with Railroad Street Youth and everything, the basketball is very highly used down there. So some level of restoration or resurfacing then would be done. So I tossed out the idea of a multi-use surface. And they felt that intermingling some of the older people that play pickleball with some of the skaters were not a good idea.
Wait, say that again?
No, I didn't mean for pickleball.
The basketball court.
Yeah.
You to make it a multi-use court.
Oh,
And they said, and then on top of it, the parking issue, we already have that.
Right.
yeah.
So
I
think-
just remember there was a gentleman here who had
it's very highly
mentioned.
according to.
yeah, there are a lot of,
hoops were
yeah.
not-
So
So,
that would stay.
right, but have we fixed the hoops?
The hoops.
have we put new hoops up?
We've done that?
No, we have that railroad.
Yeah,
Have we fixed? No, I'm asking, how much work is it to fix the hoops down there right now before we do anything else?
could you have one of your boys get up on a ladder with a,
No, I think
wrench?
it's more than that.
You may need to rehang those, I don't know.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
then, but what
Someone
you're
had
talking about is
requested
looking at the
that.
skate park and the basketball court.
Yep.
And doing,
Building stuff, yeah.
and so you're gonna do a kind of a study to see what that would cost.
Yep.
Yeah, great.
But first, we're just gonna get them up to a level that we can without,
Well, if we can do something like that, we'll look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was also informed that both the basketball and the skate park through the winter months, they shovel it and use it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
completely.
used a lot.
Okay, great. You're, I don't know why you're sitting down. You're next. Get up.
Then make notes.
Memorial Field overage of $67,000. We originally asked for X amount of money 3 years ago for CPA. And due to inflation, and everything else, but Dr. Wizard over here may have some ways to alleviate that overage. Go ahead.
So the bids came back in at $567,000. We had $500,000 to work with. So, you know, to get the job done as specified on the plans, would take 567. We're familiar with bid documents and construction planning, but there's a lot of units to this. We, you know, eliminate the screening, you know, the netting along the co-op and
That's in the original quote, but not,
and that
we're
was
gonna take that out.
49 or 50,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That shouldn't have been in there in the first place. so.
right.
You know, and then we found some good sand there, so. The original reason it was put there is for the commission to allow me to spend $67,000 out of their budget. To finish that job, I don't need it all, but at this point, we're so early in the game, I don't know what I need.
So we're good where we are right now.
I think I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope to bring it in at or less. But
He's giving us a heads up. He thinks he can, based on what's going on, probably not spend that, but I said, let's get it out so they know now
I might be coming to you spring and say.
we need some money to
Who might
finish
be
it.
coming to us?
Him,
Oh,
We have money in our parks budget.
okay.
they may need to cover some
The
stuff.
commission say, okay, use it for that.
But right now, it's not 67,000. It's
Now
nothing
it's
right
been-
now.
now it's
Good.
less, yeah.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Now we're looking at 17. Bill, you have that look on your face.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. You know, it's like, I think about, like how many kids are in the skate park and, you know, I think $500,000 is a lot for a baseball field. You know, just, you know, I know we approved it and all, but it's,
No, you didn't approve it. CPA approved it.
We approved it.
We asked for it, but yeah,
Yeah, we approved it.
Yeah.
And the town approved it. Bill, I don't disagree with you, but it's done with and we're moving on.
I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
no, I
So-
understand how you want, that you may be somewhat reticent, but I will tell you,
It'll be worth it.
when it's done, it will be a showplace. Not only will it be, it's right dead center of town,
I
but it
understand that.
also be used for, it will attract other things.
What are the other plans that we have for that? Aside, because we have people come in and say they want to run their dogs there and there are issues with that.
what are the other plans?
Tournaments. Higher
It's
level
baseball.
baseball tournaments, yeah.
The other thing, Bill, I think, where I agree with you, is I think that's why I've asked Joe and we've agreed to look at the skate park and look at that and make sure we keep that up, because that's being used more than the field. So I agree with you on that.
See, that is, as a parks commissioner, it's like my main concern for everything is, I look at the numbers, I think about where parks are located and how the best use for those, and I appreciate that, Steve, that, it's like, I mean, maybe we can open that up a little bit for the kids.
It's not one or the other. It's gonna be both. I agree. It's not the money that should be in the skate park is gonna be used in Memorial Field. We're gonna do both.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I agree with you on that.
and there's a tradition of the field being there in the middle of the town.
Yeah.
So,
It's a very, $500,000 for a baseball field. I get it. It's a lot of money. No
it is a
question.
lot of money.
Okay,
So is there a question on doing anything about the 67,000?
not now.
Okay.
This is just a heads up. This is so people have some idea that it did come in over, but there's there's $50,000 of that 67 that's not gonna be used now because we're not gonna put in netting. So all of a sudden
Okay,
it's.
so that's, we're limited to that.
Right,
Okay.
so we're getting, all right. Now, there was and I'm not sure what, she's not here to discuss it.
It was supposed to be.
Brandy.
No, I never saw Brandy up there.
Yeah, so if you look at I don't know what she actually wants for this, but this document is, and Joe and I sort of looked at this, if you look at planning board master committee assignments, it's not dated, it says August 2023, which cracks me up, because I'm like, who came up with this in August of 2023? But if you look at it, what I would like to do is table this till next month and get Brandy to come over here from the planning board and tell us what the hell she wants us to do with it.
Can
Because
I tell you what she did with the select board to give you a little heads up on this?
absolutely, what is
So
that?
the right-hand column is I think the master plan is from the early 2010, 13.
Yeah, yeah,
So the right is where we are, progress and what was in the master plan. That was our responsibility. And she will come and either offer to meet with some of us and go through it and talk about it, or what we're doing at the select board is we're gonna put her on an agenda, take an hour and go through each of, you only have 4. I think the select board has like 3 pages.
right,
So that she could come and guide us through this and help us to decide where we're going on this.
right. I mean, if you look, it says existing playgrounds, park, picnic tables, da. Well, we're doing all that. Parks continues to assess. We put up 12 picnic tables. We're building benches. Those are all going up. We're looking at Dewey. We're looking at Grove Street, da.
The signage where it says nothing to report, I would disagree. We put signs at every park, which were never there before.
Right,
You're right, so I think we're much farther ahead than maybe some other boards. So I would just invite Randy to a meeting and let her go over it with us.
yeah.
All right.
See what, I'd like to know what she really wants. I mean, she said, can I do this? And I was like, yeah, but I don't know. I'm not quite sure what she wants.
Right, so we need to make a motion to table it and invite her to the next meeting.
Yes, let's do that.
I just made it.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Planning Board Master Committee assignments, we've decided she can come and chat with us. That'll be our committee assignment. Okay, the other thing is, in the back is dodgeball. I saw this thing, they're doing it in Lee, and I was giving it as, because I thought it was kind of cool that they do it on Saturday nights and they have multi-purpose thing, and I just thought it was a great thing somebody should look at, maybe from the school perspective.
Who staffs it?
I don't know, they do it in Lee, it's in
Well, we have
the
the.
it's in the Berkshire- it's
Don't forget
Edge.
the LIA.
LYA.
That's a little different than what we have.
David, youth commission up there.
No, in Lee, yeah, it could be. It could be in the Hoosie Dome, absolutely, on Saturday nights, because the way things are going is they go from like 8 to 5, some Saturdays they don't do it. It could be once a month, I don't know. But it just seemed like something that we ought to look at. It looks kind of a neat thing to do. It's not expensive and there's plenty of room, Just a thought,
Another use for the building.
But
right?
it sounds great, but again, like, if there was a person or an organization that was in charge of recreational activities for the town, that this could be organizing this and staffing this to be
Absolutely.
a part of that. Separate from that, the thing that gets in the way of our doing this is just person power.
Absolutely.
So, like,
This is that program, a program.
this is that
director.
program.
And they could be
director.
working in the winter too.
Absolutely.
If we could, I mean, we could kind of have a full-time person doing this kind of stuff and providing a nice job for somebody.
I don't think you're wrong, Bill, but
You know,
I'm,
and then they could even take over the softball programs and the baseball programs.
then signing up and all.
LYA does everything.
I don't
Well,
think we're
even a
wrong.
smaller
I think
town-
going
even a
down the
smaller
line,
town
that's
like
what we
Dalton,
should do.
They have like 2 or 3 full-time people paid the CRA.
So if you're planning to do, first of all, those are private, most of those are private, like
Right.
Dalton's is a private group, but if you're planning to want the town to think about this, that's something to start to have people go organize, talk to the town manager and say, is this something we could put in our budget or we
Yeah.
could put in our budget? But I think you'd have to talk to the town manager to get his okay on it, because it would be harder to get through. It has to go through the town manager, the finance committee and select board. I'm not saying. it
Job
can be done, but-
description, I mean, there's a
But
whole,
now's the time to do it. Also, if you're talking about a full-time person, there's benefits. So, there's insurance, et cetera. It's not a bad, it's a good idea. It's just now's the time to do it. Don't wait till January when we're working on the budget. Do it now to start to talk to Joe, start to talk to
you're talking
Mark.
$75,000 to $180,000 to put
Probably
somebody,
75 to 100.
to put on somebody full-time. To do all that.
have to leave.
Okay, thank you.
See you guys next meeting.
Okay,
Take care, Tom.
thanks, Tom.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but it's something that has to be considered now, not when we're talking about the budget.
So just to be clear, it means talking to the town manager first and then working on the details so that it has time to go through all of the steps before town meeting.
I would probably say that once let's say at the next meeting, we talk about this. Karen talks to Joe about it and they come up with a plan to bring to the town manager. Well, you're the chair.
You've got 2 nearby towns that have youth.
No, I don't think it's, I've been wanting this for 20 years. I would love it. I would love to have a full-time park and rec person that I could turn to and say, okay, this is your job. Do it. Get the soccer programs lined up, get the Little League programs
So
lined up.
I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, but there is a position being put forth, but from the Rural Health Network, which is not just Great Barrington, but it's all of Southern Berkshire County, that is an attempt at a person coordinating all things having to do with families. It's a full-time position, but like, what if this wasn't a full-time position? Could it connect to something else
I don't
with
know.
other people? Okay.
Don't know.
But this rec position could be a full-time position.
It would be.
It would have to be.
Like, so many towns have youth summer rec programs.
Yeah, but a lot of them are not town programs. They're, what?
No, they're run through the town, like.
Okay,
like,
Dalton, for
especially if
instance,
you
is
go
town.
in Stark, like in-
Oh, no, I
like
understand that.
Spencer Town, They have
I'm-
like they run a youth.
No, I understand that. I'm saying around here, a lot of them are private groups that do this, Dalton.
Well,
group.
Dalton's got the CRA, but Lee and Lennox have towns
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Organized
What I'm saying is, like, if we're gonna do it, we need to do
that
it
run
now.
that run everything.
Oh,
You know something, I could see like somebody like that coordinating town properties, private properties that have facilities that the town doesn't have. I mean, it could be a really, really unique position that brings everybody together.
yeah, the only difference now. And I can only think of basketball is the only one that might not have the same thing. 5 or 10 years ago, when we talked about this, the individual youth groups were fairly strong. And didn't want the town coming in on them. But right now, you hear Little League say, we just don't have the manpower to do this anymore.
right.
Basketball still is doing pretty strong, it seems like. So we can't anticipate we're just gonna take over all of these. But, no, don't get me wrong, I'm not against it. But I think most of them would be very receptive to a hand, to helping out with it, which 5 or 10 years ago, that might not have been the same way. So I think this is a really good opportunity to do that.
Well, every one of the groups you mentioned use town facilities, so.
They do use town facilities, but I'm talking about setting up schedules, working with a.
Like the
other team.
AD at the high school.
Yeah, it's like second AD position at high school.
Yeah,
But it would be for Great Barrington only.
Okay, so what's the process now? How are we gonna do this? Because I think this is a thing we should.
Why don't we ask Karen to talk to Joe? Obviously, he's here. And the three of you sit down with Mark and see what his perception of this is, and then come back to us in December.
full-time human. Okey dokey, we can do that. I'm happy to be like, good idea. Just show me the money, honey.
But that's gonna be a big thing. The
Yeah.
town meetings usually support it. None of us.
What do you
have
mean?
seen-
If Abby Schroeder can stand up at town meeting and whine and bitch for 35 seconds and get 50 grand, there's no way we can't get this done.
We could get it
Does
done.
not move us further along.
It will move us, trust me. Okay. Oh my God, citizen speak. Commissioner speak.
Citizen speak?
There was no one to speak.
No one has said anything. I've got some things I want to bring up in a minute.
So can I just say that we had the same Zoom link as the cultural council tonight, so they canceled. I forwarded our schedule that we agreed to for 2024 to the town manager. And hopefully this will alleviate that problem.
Okay, everybody got this.
That's the one I
Is
forwarded.
this correct?
If everyone says it is, yes.
Well, no, I'm just.
I mean,
wondering-
it avoids a conflict because it's Monday night with the select board.
It
Yeah.
said, but this is the one I sent the email, said this is updated, done by a real intelligence system.
Yes.
As opposed to an artificial intelligence system.
That was the one.
Okay, so. Now you
Bill
have
agreed
this
he would go to-
a year.
Okay.
You want to speak, citizen?
I want to thank you all for I thought I had to wait till March for the improvements for the grocery park. I'm so excited, but it doesn't mean they want me to walk now during the 25-degree weather.
You better be walking. I want to see a photograph. Once we get that, is that door cut in yet, Joe?
Just have to
It's so,
make sure there's-
so awesome, thank you so much.
I expect to see your Megan Flynn butt and your walker on that area walking. Do you understand? That's the deal, baby cakes.
Don't worry,
All right, good.
thank you.
You are most welcome. It is probably the thing that was the best thing I did that week coming to your house. Thank you.
Really?
Yeah, Joe and I. It was probably the best thing I did that week, honestly.
That's great, thank you.
We doing commissioner speak or you gonna speak first?
Commissioner speak. I got stuff, but you go ahead.
Okay, just to, I wanna, follow up on what Bill just brought up. I want everybody to remember that we call it Memorial Field, but it's technically known as Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Field. And since we just celebrated Veterans Day, we shouldn't forget why that field was built back in the 20s, I believe it was. It's a memorial to everybody that served in the armed services. And it was constructed as a baseball field, whether that use changes or not, but we should not forget why it was built. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir Debbie? Terry? Stevie Wonder?
I'm done.
Alana?
I'm wondering what the procedure is to request a crosswalk to get to Olympian Meadows across Main Street.
Mr. Gabberdale?
So there's been a few requests for that. South Main Street from St. James Place down to just above National Grid is in the process of being designed for improvements and will be included now.
So it's a work
It's
in progress.
coming, it's
Great.
just not here yet.
Excellent. Thank you.
Alana, I just would like to have you put this in the same department that Mr. Gibbons has put the redo at Memorial Field. I think we ought to have a $10 pool to figure out if and when that situation will ever happen.
Oh, it will happen.
Yeah. I'm saying $50, it'll take a minimum of 3 years.
How much?
$50.
I'll put it down tomorrow.
Wait, I'm in for a dollar.
You're in for a buck?
Well, here's the spendy one over there.
Big bucks. I just wanted to let people know that we will vote on this in December. CPA is entertaining a proposal from DPW about either we put in for both only because we're not gonna get both, but to expand and make the court at Grove expandable so we can have outdoor pickleball there. You need some expansion done there and also to put nets in. And or at Dewey to put in outdoor pickleball courts, 2 pickleball courts. We will vote on this, and I just wanted to bring it up in Commissioner Speak so you can have an idea. I'll be glad to talk to you about it. You can look at the step 1 app. Go ahead.
So I know the commission has been talking about the other improvements up at Grove Street. There's been talk about doing something at Dewey, so. The step 1's had to be in by a certain date before your next meeting, so I put together step 1. But we've been approved to go to step 2. We want to withdraw, I'm sure we can withdraw.
We can withdraw whatever, but we're not going to be meeting till the 19th or 20th of December. So- Yeah, so there are a lot of people who would like to have pickleball courts, some outside. Lee put them in, Egremont has put them in. They've had a lot of kickback and use of them. They're also a draw. There are a lot of people who call. I did all summer. I got a call or 2 a week of where can you play pickleball? The stuff at the,
Can you put in your old Walgreens store?
Yeah.
a lot.
We're meeting December 11th, by the way.
December 11th, yeah.
Rent that and put some pickleball courts.
They did that at a mall in New Jersey. They put in,
Great idea.
they put in 26 pickleball courts in a mall,
26 in a mall.
26 at
That's
$170
gotta
an
You know what that
hour.
must sound like?
How much in at Grove Street or Dewey?
We put in to put them in at both, but we're not gonna do that, but we wanted,
It just felt like at the meeting we had at the Grove Street, people really are not that.
Dewey may
excited.
not either, though, you're right.
but what I'm,
But
It's
it was
just, it's
the
Grove
wheels
Street
to
seems
get
very small,
the
like,
application in
from
CBC.
kind of looking at that park over the last few months, I don't know that place for pickleball.
well, here's, and you may be totally right, Sir Debbie, I'm not saying that is, but what I do know is there's a great hue and cry for it. And that we at Great Barrington, we should have some outdoor courts. The problem with the ones at the high school at this point, the whole school problem and everything else, whether we can't do anything up there, we can only use the 2 courts, and whether those are going to be able to be used, we're hoping. But it would be great to have something in town where people could use. So
just in response to the question about the baseball field as it compares to some of the other issues on the table, like, I feel like there are some other issues that take precedence. I understand that there is money for this separate from what we're talking about improving in other areas, right? We're not talking about pickleball courts instead of a full-size soccer field. We're talking about, here's an opportunity to build something
through
specific.
CPA, through the recreational
So
branch of it.
I think it's something to bring up and talk about next meeting. And just, as long as it's not taking away resources that could go to other things that we're trying to build.
And we'll-
Another source of funding.
Yeah.
And we'll give you the details and the background and everything else. The usage and what Egremont did and what the costs were and all that other stuff.
Just remember, and Sir Debbie's correct, Grove Street neighbors, it's a little crowded down there, so Dewey's probably the best location, but remember 2 or 3 years ago when we accepted Dewey, the neighbors, doesn't mean we're gonna do it, wanted just open space. So, we need to let the neighbors know if we decide to do that, that's what we've decided on.
Well, the other problem is that what we're trying to do is look at all the assets within the town and balance it, It's not Grove Street's park either.
No,
No,
let's
I know
not do
that,
it either.
but in terms of, like,
It's not the same thing as Dewey, but
parking, it's-
Yeah.
no,
Season, and
I
don't
totally
see-
get it. I totally get it. But I don't want to get into the proprietary issues about, that's our park, you can't do that. No, I'm not saying you are, but we have had situations at the park when we were putting in the parking and everything else, where neighbors came and cursed the staff out. So,
But in this case, we have to take a long look at. Grove Street
absolutely,
Because it's very crowded. It will be very crowded. if it is.
I think it will be, especially when we put all the new stuff in.
Does the, CPA commission that the chair, realize that the pot seems to be running dry with all the requests, and I see $500,000 for this and a half. Where do you think
Paul, do you
all
think,
this money's gonna come from?
let me ask you a question. Do you think that we've all lived under a rock? Of course we
Well,
understand.
it seems
We've been
to be.
requested $2.2 million worth of stuff. And there's probably, I'm gonna say between 700,000 and 800,000 available this year. It used to be higher, but the problem is Boston, Springfield, Worcester, all the bigger communities all
They
said,
got involved.
CPAs, well, they're not stupid. So part of the problem is, and there are all the last meeting was, did the projects requested qualify and meet the criteria for CPA funds? Absolutely. All 15 projects met those requirements. The fun time starts on the 12th, 19th, and 21st of December, when we have to go through and realize we have to evaluate all that and say, okay, so we've got, and we try not to go on saying we only have this much money. We're trying to see what the merit is. But when one group comes in and asks for $500,000 and has really nothing to show for it other than we want to give it away for housing, and then you have others that have said, well, we want to buy Thornwood and put 18 workforce housing units in there. I mean, there is a lot of, it's a fun way to spend a month, I'll tell you. So
No,
we get it.
I-
We get it. Believe me, we get it. But the problem is we can't, we've had one committee member saying, why are we talking about anything else? Let's just put everything towards housing. Well, we can't do that because that's not the way the law is set up. That's not the way CPA is set up.
The general court who set this whole thing up, sold a bill of goods to communities, making it think that it's free money. Well, it isn't free money, period. And now the pot has run dry
It's not
for
dry.
lots of reasons.
There's $25 million in it.
And how many communities are there in the Commonwealth?
Well, it depends on whether you're a 3% community, it's a lot,
Okay,
it's
so
not
that's
just
it.
run dry, or it's not a broad brush, bad, good, or indifferent. There are a lot of moving parts to it. That I can tell you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Goodbye. Thank you.